Originally, I wasn't going to make another video discussing the whole Vshojo drama, but the reason why I decided to do it, but the reason why I decided to cover it is because when I made the first one, when it was Iron Mouse talking about it, in that video, I said because it had just come out the news and I didn't want to jump on a hate train or a bandwagon because I like to hear every side of the story before I make a judgment. And since I made a video on that, and in that video, I stated I wanted to wait and see, it has now been enough time for me to know, based on all the people coming out, all the people who have quit, all the people that have come out with horror stories, that Vshojo was 1000% in the wrong. And here's a video by Rev, and he's going to go over some of the stuff in it. Rest in piss, they will not be missed. Let's start the video.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So what if I told you the Vshojo situation has somehow gotten worse? Well, you'd probably believe me because that's pretty much the case every single day since the implosion of this company started just a few days ago. And today is really no different. We're going to be looking at some more trouble for the leadership of Vshojo, including some potential state and federal charges. And one of the people in that management group is an officer who left 2 months ago and then tried to join the mob going after Vshojo. However, now that a lot of NDAs have been broken, former talents are coming out and sharing their experience.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about this. This guy apparently was like really creepy towards the girls and would make unwanted advances, allegedly. When the company started going under, he pretty much was like, oh my goodness, and playing like he didn't know. And a lot of the girls have come out and said not only was he aware, but he was also a major creep. That's what I've heard.
With this particular officer and how he is just basically a giant creep and someone who's in a lot of hot water right now. So let's begin with the CEO of the former.
His emote was removed off of Twitch. I know that as well. He had a global emote. Gone. Good. Deserved. Not only did this scumbag allegedly steal money from charity, took advantage of all the people that worked under him. Scummy, scummy company. Vshojo.
Company, Vshojo, the gun run. Now, this guy has been facing a lot of heat since day one of this Vshojo situation. He has been the person people have been looking at. He is the captain of the ship, and I regret to inform you guys, I have some very sad news.
Oh, yep, he talked about it.
Twitch has removed the gun run global emote. I know a lot of people are really disappointed about this, but yeah, I had to share that with you guys first. But yesterday we talked about, in our video, this message that Vshojo released. This is their official statement from Gunrun himself, and he says many things, saying that Vshojo has failed and he mismanaged the company and that they're shutting down and that they had all these funds they couldn't get loans to make up for.
I don't know if Rev's going to talk about it, but another thing too is he claimed that he wasn't aware that the money was raised for charity, but people have found proof and evidence that not only did he shout out the charity, but he had retweeted people that were talking about the charity. So he outright lied. He knew the money was being raised towards charity, but he spent it. And allegedly, according to, I believe, Tectone, it was on Vegas and hookers.
And basically, he spent all the money the company had, including the revenue that was supposed to go to the talents and also the charity money. And he tries very hard in this paragraph right here, while basically admitting he misappropriated funds, to say, oh, I kind of like didn't know that $500,000 that was supposed to go to charity. I didn't know that was
so
like
Rev does talk
for
about
charity, and I just kind of spent it on other things. Yeah, really bad move. Of course, this is referring to what Iron Mouse said in her video explaining why she left Vshojo, where she mentions the $500,000 she raised for the Immune Deficiency Foundation through her subathon last year. That $500K never made it to that organization, and of course we now know it was spent on other things in a very, very bad decision by Gunrun and all of the management over at Vshojo. Now, in this statement, they try very hard to act like they had no idea what was going on, where this charity money came from. The Immune Deficiency Foundation, who's that? Subathon, huh? Yeah, well, there's a crazy paper trail. There's a crazy trail of activity showing that Vshojo, and in particular Gunrun.
How are you going to go on the internet and just lie when there are receipts for everything that you've done and said in the past? Just own up. You already failed. You already ran your company into the ground and friggin' took advantage of people. Just admit to your mistakes, say how much you screwed up, and move on. Or don't say anything at all and hire a lawyer.
Knew this was going on and were actively cheering on this charity effort by Iron Mouse. Beginning with this, they released a press briefing. They actually released a press briefing to the public talking about Iron Mouse's success in her subathon, even mentioning that she is the now, at the time, the #1 all-time sub to Twitch streamer on the entire platform. They were so proud of this, they released a press statement and even talked about the charity. And then we go further.
Oh, but he didn't know.
We see the Gun Run reposting this Ludwig tweet talking about the fact that this raised money for charity, that half of the money was going to charity from
Oh, but he didn't know, scumbag.
the subathon. Here's another retweet from the Gun Run directly from Iron Mouse where she talks about the subathon ending, right? And the success of it. And of course, we have this photo right in front of the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Their logo right there. There he is.
Also, the gun run used to work for Twitch. That explains why he failed.
Standing right next to them, right next to Iron Mouse. He knew everything that was going on with this, okay? And he knew how important this was to her. And it gets worse. One last one. Oh, geez. We're going to scroll down and see Gun Run, aren't we? Yup. You.
Pathetic. That guy is so pathetic, man. How are you gonna steal money from charity? That's as low as you can go. Am I surprised? No, but it's still just, man.
Who did it, Mouse? Yeah, he says that as he takes all the charity money and basically does whatever he did with it. Well, it certainly didn't go to the charity, and it certainly didn't go to Iron Mouse. That's all we know. But of course, legal mindset, an actual attorney is weighing in on the situation. I guess being an actual attorney is probably more of a qualification than what it appears to be at any sort of counsel at Vshojo, because apparently one of their lawyers doesn't even have a active license. It expired. This is a joke. But
Vshojo, the more and more I learn about it, I found that it was held together by duct tape and criminality.
legal mindset would weigh in on this and talk about just how serious this is in terms of potential state and federal laws that were violated, but also
Oh, and gaslighting.
keep in mind, it's not just Gun Run. A lot of people are going to focus on him, but that doesn't mean all the other officers and higher ups at Vshojo are off the hook.
Leaving 2 months ago doesn't get you off the hook. This thing has been going on for a while, at least in terms of the people not being paid, and also in terms of the charity misallocation. This is something that was done in the past. So if you were there as an officer 2 months ago and you quit, you're not necessarily off the hook. When the investigation looks at this, they get into the emails, they get into the documents, they get into, okay, what happened here? There at some point is going to be revealed a number of people, not just the gun run, but definitely including the gun run, that were involved in taking those funds and putting them other places.
Yeah, it's going to be all the top leaders, top management, the COO, the CEO. All of them are going to be the ones that were all in cahoots, but they're probably all just going to try to throw Gun Run under the bus because that's most beneficial for them. And of course, they're going to take the most beneficial for them path.
There were discussions that were had, and even if they were had in person, someone's going to crack, someone's going to break. No one wants to go to federal prison. This is wire fraud. This is misallocation of funds. This is violation of various other state and federal laws. This is no good, right? And assuming, once again, assuming on the face that all the facts we have are true, which I have no reason to believe because they've confessed this now. They've said, no, we actually misallocated the funds. There's no further proof needed other than getting into who's liable.
Now, you see a particular officer mentioned in that video, and you'll see throughout the rest of this video, this guy's going to be the highlight. So you see this individual, Mo Tendu.
This is the guy that I heard that was being creepy.
Known as MTD, as we'll see throughout the rest of this video. This is someone who left Vshojo in May. They made a statement here on Twitter. It's their pinned tweets. They talk about all of the wonderful memories they had with Vshojo back then as an officer, a higher up in the company, saying they had such a great experience with Vshojo. And again, this is just 2 months ago. But then, when everything starts after the Iron Mouse video, he jumps in and says, nah, bro, what the absolute F? And then tags his former CEO.
Throwing him under the bus, like I said, to cover for himself. Scumbags being scumbags? Shocking surprise.
The person he used to work for as an officer at Vshojo. And of course, you can see the community note saying this user was included in many of Vshojo's mismanagement issues and has been called out for harassing talents. Wow, color me shocked. I can't believe this just happened. But yeah, this guy tried to basically join in on the mob going after Vshojo. It was like, yeah, I'm part of the team, guys. And people took a step back and said, wait a second. The issues going on with Vshojo, they've been happening for years under your management. You were an officer in the company during this entire thing.
Yep.
And now you're trying to play on the side of the mob going after Vshojo? Yeah, not so fast, buddy. And basically this guy,
Trying to act innocent to cover his own behind. Not surprised.
he self-inserted into the situation to try to get clout on Twitter, and now he put a giant spotlight on himself, and people are digging through this guy's account, and now the talents are sharing their experiences with him because he couldn't keep his mouth shut, and it's bad. It's real bad, ladies and gentlemen. We'll begin with this photo. I'm telling you, man, the Sonichu medallion, it claimed another soul.
Why? Why every time? It can't be stopped. It's too powerful.
Here this guy is. That's our MTD. I don't know what he's wearing on his face. It looks like he's wearing Miku's panties on his face. But he's masked up. Okay, that's a bit of a joke. It's 2018, yeah, before the pandemic and everything, but it's a convention. People wear masks. But anyways, he has a lot more to worry about than wearing a silly mask. Vebe, who's a former Vshojo talent, would come out with a lengthy statement absolutely chastising this guy. It's bad. She begins by talking about the company, but eventually we'll get into this officer and how he is basically, according to her, a creep who has been told to basically stay away from the women within the company. Okay, so let's begin with the statement. So, as she says, her
Oh, it's like that one guy from Niji Sanji that they let go so that way they didn't have to deal with the internal investigation. Creeps exist in women's spaces? Who would have guessed?
NDAs are now void. Why I left Vshojo. Back in 2023, Vshojo tried to bully me into one of their most predatory contracts that I've ever seen. When I tried to ask more about it, their COO got extremely hostile with me and refused to answer any of my questions, and so I had to hire a lawyer in order to get some clarification. During the talks, it became clear that Vshojo would rather let me go than to take less away from me. They were ultimately wanting me to give up more than half of my sponsor revenue and over 60% of all merch sales.
That's ridiculous.
All I asked from them in return is to not take a cut of the sponsors that I was getting through Mythic. Mythic Talent being an organization that helps people get various sponsorships, basically, right? But as that cut was already being taken, they said no. They want it all. Remember in the final notice, their final statement on Vshojo's page, they said, like, we gave generous cuts. Does this sound very generous? This sounds as bad as Niji Sanji at this point. But anyways. And so I asked to leave after being treated like I was disposable in our talks. They basically made it seem like...
I remember one of the things that I would always hear about Vshojo is, well, they get to keep their own model. They get to keep their own model. Well, a lot of the times they were already established people that were bringing in their own model. So of course they kept their IP that was already theirs, but a lot of people would play that off as if that was something special. And Vshojo would always like to act like they were a family. It turns out they were the family as long as they got something from you. But if you wanted something or needed something returned, then, well, you're just not being a team player now.
They were my employer, and that they were the reason for my success, that I owe them, and that I should be happy to give them my money. In order for me to leave, they demanded I sign an NDA that prevented me from speaking to any other talent about it. I could not say why I was leaving.
That's cult-like behavior. You're not allowed to speak to anyone or anything. You can't badmouth us.
I could not say what the terms that I was saying no to were. I even got in trouble for advising them to hire their own attorneys.
Well, of course, you'd get in trouble for that. They don't want them to lawyer up, because then the lawyers will be able to find out that the company is corrupt and taking advantage of people. So they're going to get real mad at that.
They would watch my streams, read my Discord, and then threaten to sue me. If I said anything that hinted towards how I really felt about the company, I was threatened with a lawsuit. Wow. Yeah, basically trying to intimidate her and even threaten legal action, trying to weaponize the law system to make sure she keeps her mouth shut. Anyway, she continues, another one of their leave terms was that I would announce both me and Silver on the same day in order to minimize the damage to their company. Their COO has begun to push a narrative on 4chan.
Wait, the rats. The rats are always true. That VTubers and VTuber companies go on 4chan to push propaganda. That's always been a rat. And another rat proven true.
Yes, I'm serious on 4chan and other social media that I am leaving because I plan to join OTK and that both me and Silvervale were troublemakers, so they were letting us go. Later, I found out that Nyanners wanted to leave around the same time due to also being unhappy with the contract, but was told she couldn't because it did not fit their narrative that they were pushing internally and externally.
One does not simply comment on this video without signed NDA. It's all right. They dissolved as a company, so therefore all NDAs are lifted, allegedly. I don't know. That's what I heard.
The amount of hate we've gotten over leaving, from fans calling us greedy bitches to people saying we're abandoning our friends and tossing aside the company because we're not successful enough. Stuff was effing painful. Not being able to say anything sucked. So the thing about Nyanners being basically forced to stay with the company even though she wanted to leave because they didn't want them all to leave at once because it would make the company look bad is something that is corroborated with Silvervale's account that we looked at yesterday. And also when they left, yeah, a lot of people were really mad. But I remember, the one thing I do remember is when they left, one of the first things they said was the word retard, and people went absolutely insane.
Yeah, the drama I remember with her is, yeah, her using, or her saying retard, and her playing the wizard game. And a lot of people getting mad about that. I remember hearing about that drama a while back.
People got so mad. All the people who were like, you know, these wholesome Chungus Vshojo fans, they turned on her instantly. And that's, you know, that's not even scratching the surface of people saying all these things she listed down here. But anyways, moving on. I only found out that I didn't get paid for any of my sponsors after I had already signed the NDA. After 2 years, I have still not been paid fully back. Another person added to.
And you know what's sad too is they're probably never going to see that money, because I believe Vshojo has now declared bankruptcy, and I believe as well that they were considered contractors and not employees, and companies are required to pay employees first, and contractors get paid whenever they feel like it.
The list, by the way. To add insult to injury, they also demanded I had to pay them back $10K for some of the anniversary assets, which when they sent me back months later.
Wait, isn't that the whole point of the company? That they were supposed to help financially with assets and deals and this and that? They wanted reimbursement for that? Jesus.
We're half finished. Despite all that, I've had immense faith that.
And they were half finished. I didn't let them finish, so I didn't hear that. So they wanted reimbursement for projects that weren't even completed?
The company has gotten better over the past 2 years. I assumed they rewrote their contracts if they're losing 3 people due to them and seeing all the new talent join.
No, what they did was create a pyramid scheme. They hired new talent to make more money to pay old talent, but then they had to hire new talent to pay the talent that they just hired so they could pay their old talent. And they just kept going and going and going. They essentially created a pyramid scheme.
Clearly, this was not the case. Now, this is the best part. Okay, the fun facts she lists here. Their company lawyer has an expired law license. He literally.
A lot of them, sadly, that's probably one of the first companies they worked in and didn't know and thought, oh, I'm part of this company. This company has clout. Like, people know this, so therefore it's a good company. And they allowed themselves to be taken advantage of. Is that more of a Ponzi scheme than a pyramid scheme?
Does not practice law anymore, yet he was our point of contact for any legal help we needed. That is embarrassing.
Is that even legal? To have a company lawyer with an expired law license providing legal help? I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I'm not a lawyer, So I could be wrong, but questionable at least.
Couldn't even find just like a random lawyer. Like you couldn't find just a licensed attorney. That's how low the bar is. But the next one says they actively pitted us against one another during my time there and compared our success to others. They tried enforcing
Well, that's
streaming
messed
schedules
up.
so that our view count would look better due to less overlap.
Was Vshojo a company or was Vshojo a high school girl clique? Not the VTubers in it. I'm talking about the people that ran the company. They would pit the VTubers against each other. Why would you do that as a company where you're supposed to be a group together and help each other?
They would always talk smack about other VTuber agencies. They literally would spend company money to get a tiny dig at them, especially Hololive. Wow, color me shocked. It literally lived rent-free in Gunrun's head. They were convinced Hololive was over when they signed Kason and Nazuna.
Also, poor Kason. She can't catch a break, man. She is probably, I would say, if there's a Mount Rushmore VTuber, she would definitely be on there. It's more of a Ponzi because they weren't stacking people. They're just recycling money they didn't have. Yeah, let me see. I think I have. Let me see if I can. I'll pull this up. See if I can to kind of indicate what I meant. This is a horrible thing, but it should work. All right. So the way I think of it, they had the people that they hired. Then, in order to pay these people, they had to hire more people to pay these people.
Once again, Hololive wins by doing absolutely nothing, just continuing on and watching all these other companies shoot themselves in the foot. But here's the next one saying our previous talent manager got ghosted for 6 months by Gunrun, told not to do any work for us, and then got fired for not doing anything. During this fiasco, we weren't able to get any assistance. And here we go. MTD got reprimanded for being creepy to us. Got told not to message us privately.
Why was he reprimanded for being creepy? He should have been instantly fired if it was like really creepy. If he was like messaging the girls and just being like, "Oh, hey, would you like to go to the movies or something like that?" I could understand for a reprimand for that. But if being creepy and him being outright creepy to where he had to be reprimanded for it, why wasn't he let go?
Go figure. And she continues on, and that's the officer we've been talking about earlier in the video. She continues on saying, I have proof from other streamers attending their IRL parties that MTD would actively smack talk me after...
Yeah, how does this guy help the company? He can't be that good at his job to where if not only is he hitting on the girls, he's talking smack about them, creating division in the company itself, going to build resentment between the talents by bad-mouthing them amongst each other. What purpose does this guy serve to better the company? Oh, wait, it doesn't. They're bankrupt and dead. That explains it.
I left the company to paint me in the worst light imaginable. Don't know why you're acting innocent on Twitter pretending you weren't aware of anything. Can't wait to see all the stuff that comes out about you because there's loads. But those aren't my stories to tell. Yeah, it's about to get a lot worse for this person. And guess what? More people would weigh in, but it all makes sense, right? As pointed out here, right? Former co-founder, this officer, MTD.
Oh, he was a co-founder. I thought he was just someone who worked on it. I didn't know he was a co-founder. That explains why they didn't let him go then.
I am legally allowed to simp for our own VTubers, asking for a friend. And then says, this was not a Freudian slip, I swear. Yep.
With now context, that's bad. That's real bad.
Never hire a simp to work for a VTuber agency.
True.
Not good. No good things come of that. But here's a statement from Nyanners responding to Vebe's post, saying MTD, the officer, had the audacity to talk smack about you to my face at a party the year that we all left and painted you as some kind of a conniving, greedy, mean girl who was in my ear and manipulated me into leaving Vshojo just because you wanted me to join OTK because her boyfriend Soda Poppin is part of that org or for personal gain or some stuff. He got uncomfortably close and up in my face and was like, "Come on, I know the real reason you left. I know it was the cause of it was because of Vay. She talked you into it."
Who does that? Who goes into someone's face and starts whispering to them, "Come on, I know the real reason you left." No wonder they wanted to be away from this guy.
Wait a second. You're telling me this guy was acting creepy? You're telling me this guy right here. I can't believe it. Anyways, etc. And it was infuriating. I know he's spread that same stuff to other staff talent and other industry people. Seeing one of my closest friends get dragged through the mud like this for years was awful. You did absolutely nothing wrong and had so much stuff flung at you just because they wanted to push a narrative to protect the company. For him to act like he's completely blameless is insulting. He is a creepy MF, and there's a lot more, obviously, but a lot of it is also not my story to tell.
Considering they have both said that it's not their story to tell about how much creepy things this guy's done, there's going to be a whole slew of things that comes out from the people that he did the things that they don't want to tell their stories. It's only a matter of time. This guy, I was going to say if he's smart, he'd lawyer up, but considering he crashed and burned his company that he co-owned, he doesn't seem like a very smart man.
This dude has been absolutely obliterated, and I'm telling you, I said this on Twitter as well, the mountain of stuff that's going to be coming out about not just people like this, but Vshojo as a company is going to be insane. All the lids have been pulled off. People are going to feel free to speak. And
you know what's crazy too is Vshojo was able to hide in the shadow of Niji Sanji because Niji Sanji was so bad. Point at Niji Sanji and be like, well, at least we're not like that. At least we're not like that. And people gave them goodwill because they brought in a lot of Niji Sanji talents. But little did people know that Vshojo was worse than Niji Sanji. And that's saying something because Niji Sanji is bad.
they're going to feel very vindicated, and they're going to feel like they're going to be awarded to speak, right? People believe them right now because they know this company is a bunch of shysters and weirdos. And now it's okay, come out. Like, there's going to be so much more people have to say about this company. But one last reminder, because it is an active campaign. I announced it yesterday officially. We have the new summer drop with Advanced GG.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Support Rev.
New stuff here. 3 new flavor jars, including a rebranding of the Rev's Rocket Pop flavor. We have Rev's Shark Bait, which is a lemonade flavor, as well as Rev's Based Berry Blast, which is a berry flavored jar. We have
I've never
hydration, energy, and
tried
focus, so you can
Advanced
get a jar
or
that fits
Gamer
your needs.
Subs,
And
but
also
I've thought
we have
about
some
it.
new summer merch, including a hat,
I know there's also
a
G
shirt,
Fuel.
as well as a tank top.
Is that G Fuel?
And also-
It's similar to G Fuel.
They brought back one of my old ice shakers if you want to put your flavor jars in it, and high quality stuff as always. I'll put a link to this campaign in the pinned comment, and make sure to use code REV at checkout to get 10% off your total order. This is all available for a very limited time, so act now and take advantage of this very cool deal from Advanced GG. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks, Rev. Good video. Let's drop Rev a like. Very nice. Very, very nice.